Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Her Career Unplugged, the show where we have successful women like our guest today that shared the unfiltered truth about how they built their careers. And today we have a guest who's literally sold everything, her house, her car, her comfort zone to build a life and business that lights her up. And this is Allison Hemmings. She's the career glow up coach, founder of NUO Executive Solutions, and a fierce advocate for executive women who are ready to stop playing small. And I think we're all ready to stop playing small.
Absolutely.
She's coached thousands of executive women into senior roles and six-figure negotiations, built a community of over 22,000 ambitious women, and she did it all while rewriting the rules of what a career is supposed to look like. She's the career glow up coach, a digital nomad working from the beaches of Costa Rica and living proof that it's never too late to bet on yourself. So thank you for being here, Allison.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome, Allison.
I am really, really happy for you to be here. I think this is something like we talk about so much on the show that there isn't a straight path and there's not like the view. And I would love, like, come on, you're living the nomad life, which is maybe one of my dreams of, once my kids leave and go off and I have an empty nester and then I can do that. So I'm going to save myself for the rapid fire, but I will interrupt because everybody knows me. I do love to talk in between. But I will hand you over to my lovely co-host, Vimala, who's going to ask you some questions.
Thank you, Joanne, and welcome, Allison. What a great story. And as Joanne said, very curious on your journey to where you're at. I am an empty nester. My child is out in college, but I don't know if I'm ready to just go where I want to be, but really curious to learn about your journey. So I'll be asking a few questions. We can do a deep dive or very conversational. So I and Joanne will be like, just walk us through your journey and how you're helping women. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yes, for sure.
All right, let's do it. The first question, you call yourself as a career glow up coach. What does that mean? What does that look like, especially when you work with women? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. When I say career glow ups, I am an expert in helping people's career go from wherever they want to the next level, right? As we talked about in the top of the call, like careers are not necessarily linear anymore. Like long are the days where people had, like, I always talk about this. Like my mom had two jobs in Canada, one for 20 years, the other one for another 20 years, right? Those days are gone. Like, so people don't live like that. And the world is changing really quick. And so I help women get to where they want to get to in their career by, making sure that they're not playing small, using my career glow up framework to help them get to the next level. But long are the days that we have traditional jobs. Like those are just long gone.
True. Yeah, totally agree with that. And I love the name Career Glow Up. It's a very nice way to look at your career and kind of think about how you're going to like glow in whatever decisions you make.
Well, one of the reasons I went with career glow up versus just being, essentially I'm a career coach, but a lot of times when my clients are coming to me, a lot of times it's not just your job that's the actual issue that's in your life. Like if you do not have a life and all you're doing is going to work, which is a case for a lot of women, you get up, you go to work, you come home and you work a little bit more and then you repeat and you do that over again. A lot of times it's not just the career aspect, is actually having a life itself, hobbies and passions outside of just your work and your family, right? So I've had clients who've come to me who are like thinking that they need to change their job. And no, you don't need to change your job. You need to get a life and a life that you're passionate about, and then having boundaries around your work as well, right? So
That's so important. The boundaries that make you a lot happier when you have hobbies along with it and an actual
100%.
life.
Yeah, you have to have a life. Like, and
You
it's
need
so
to have
easy
a
for
life.
us to forget that piece, but it is very, very important that you have to have a well-rounded life, even if it's your business or you're working for somebody or you're a contractor, whatever it is. If all you're doing is going to work, sleeping, and repeating every single day, you're going to get burned out and you're going to hate everything else around you. And I only say this because I was also that person. Like I've lived that life. I know how it is. to just work and have nothing else besides that.
True. And one example I have is I started my career before being a parent. And when I became a parent, I had less time to dedicate to my work. Like before, it was pretty much like 20 plus hours because I didn't have a life outside work. When I had my child, I felt that I'm not contributing enough. Like even if I worked 8 to 9 hours or over the usual work hours, I always felt like I was not doing enough. So I think that's a very good point to think about not just work, outside work too, have that well balanced and whatever you're accomplishing within that 7, 8, 9 hours, you should feel like you're worth it, right? That's one thing I learned from my career journey. But yeah, that's a great point, especially for women.
Yeah, it's so easy to forget. I think people don't really talk about it either, right? Like we take a lot of pride in being hard workers and devoting ourselves to it, right? It's almost like a badge of honor. Like, well, I do this all the time and I live for this. Okay, but you also have the life. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that is important for you as coming in as a coach to coach people on work-life balance and feeling okay, feeling fine with it.
mhm.
Thank you for doing that. Going into the next one, you built a community of 22,000 executive women. That's quite remarkable. I just want you to pause and we want to applaud for you to doing that. That's a
Thank you.
huge initiative and you have done tremendous work. 22,000. That's a huge number. So, question there, what's one pattern you see in women specifically who are stuck? And what shifts when they finally break through that pattern?
The biggest thing that I notice in my coaching practice when it comes to people making a change is that they are really stuck in their comfort zone, especially when you kind of get into the mid part of your careers, like in your late 30s and into your 40s. You've been doing this job for a long time, right? And everyone knows you and you can do the things and you get so comfortable with where you are that it feels like anything outside of that is impossible. We get really safe within these comfort zones. So I have people who are like, well, I've done it for the last 8, 9 years. What else can I do? They can't even think of their lives outside of this box that they've put themselves into. And they get really committed to being on that struggle bus. Like, this is how I've always done it. This is the way it's going to be. And that's not necessarily needs to be the case when it comes to your career, right? There are companies out there that are craving and who really want to have your expertise. But because we're so safe, like, oh, I can't leave here. I've been here for 7 years. I promise you, if they had to reduce cost, if something happened, if AI or something come change the landscape of your workplace, they're going to get rid of you in 2 seconds. Like, we've seen this a million times with people having this loyalty. I can never leave this job and nobody else can do it better than I can. And then something comes around and they're gone in 2 minutes, right? So I feel like fear, especially after COVID, like you have to think, and I mean, whatever your opinion is about COVID, there was a big time where we were isolated for a long period of time. And there was so much uncertainty that was happening in the world. And we were afraid to make changes. And in that isolation, I feel like a lot of us haven't left that. And so we still have that same kind of mentality, like, I just need to be safe. And in that safety, on the other side of what's keeping you safe is all the things that you want in your life, all the dreams, the goals, all the things that business idea that you've had that you've been sitting on, they're always on the other side of the fear. But we just get so comfortable. So being comfortable costs us a lot of money.
That is very true because being comfortable, we like you said, you hesitate, and I see that so much
Hmm.
in so many people that I've even mentored that like they go, well, if I do that or I stick out or I stand out, like
Yeah.
and I love your point about, when the time comes, if they reduce costs, they're gonna cut you, and that's very true. They're as sad as it is, people wanna say there's no loyalty towards those for companies. I'm like, "Yeah, but there's also no loyalty from companies to people."
100%. Like,
Yeah.
as a recruiter, like, I had a recruitment firm for so many years, and I can't tell you how many times I've had calls from the hiring manager, like I had one was leaving a funeral of somebody who passed away, literally leaving the funeral from somebody who just died like 2 weeks ago. And they were like, we got to get this role filled. You're leaving their funeral. Like, and I get it. Like business has to move on. I'm not, but that's just to show how replaceable we are. Your HR is leaving your funeral. They should be mourning your loss, being sad. And all they're thinking about is like, we got to replace Sally in accounting. You know what I mean? Like,
True, true.
Yeah. It's the harsh reality of the world, and
Right.
yeah, it's depressing in a way, but
mhm.
it's also like that's why don't let it hold you back, because the same idea that they're gonna replace you, I don't know, maybe I'm a little cold-hearted here for those listening. I'm like, but if they're gonna replace you, you can replace them. Granted, everybody who's ever looked at my LinkedIn, you will know I've never stayed at a company that long because why? Why? Why make less and not do what you wanna do when you can get somewhere else? So,
And I feel like, a lot of times we're using the same kind of philosophies that our parents had, right? Like as I said, my mom had two jobs in 4 years. Granted, my mom did love her career and she's happy there. But that's not the way of the future. Like it's just not gonna happen anymore. And the reality is people who make changes, make more money, they are able to move up the ladder a lot quicker. And people who stay stagnant in those positions, they end up getting paid significantly less than what they were making before. And a lot of times people think, oh, well, if I stay at a company for 10, 15 years, it makes me look loyal. Okay, but for a hiring manager, sometimes it's like, well, why are we going to hire you? You don't know anything else besides how this A and B company did it for 15 years, and you never even moved up while you were there. Like a lot of times it even comes
Exactly.
like,
no, that is perfect, and it has
But-
been reasons why we have not moved forward with candidates was,
yeah,
well, they've only worked at a contracting defense company, and even though they did well in all the all the technical questions, can they really cut it in a startup environment? You
hmm
know? And it's like,
Or
just because they've only ever had experience at Lockheed Martin,
yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly,
that's the unfortunate reality. You spent 10 years there, people don't think that you'll be able to handle a different industry.
a hundred
yeah, and the
percent,
other side of it is, are they resistant to change is what you'll be looking at in the candidates who stayed at one position forever. If that's your career goal, it's okay, like that's fine. But if you are trying to look at growing in your career and feeling like too comfortable where you're at, I think like breaking that pattern would be your first step. And also know that when you're getting interviewed, specifically now, companies are looking at moving into AI, moving into different technology in technology space. They'll be looking at you as really hard to change, right? Like, are
hmm
you like changing, evolving or not? Yeah, that's the other way to look at it.
100%.
Awesome, awesome. So my next question, that's one thing is breaking the pattern. Don't be too comfortable. Try to look outside. The other one I'm really curious upon is clarity to offer framework that you have. You do have a 90-day period. You do have some numbers that you throw out there to help women in their roles. Can you like what does that mean, and why do you have that 90-day timeline there?
Well, 90 days is typically as long as it takes in order for somebody to complete my program. And I always try to look at your career kind of like real estate. Like if you were to put your house up for sale, you wouldn't just, I mean, I'm from Toronto, and in Toronto, a regular smegular house, like even outside of the greater Toronto area is $1 million. Like it's an expensive city to live in. Right. And if you bought your house 20 years ago, you didn't pay $1 million for it. Like you maybe paid a quarter of the price. You would never just take the same kind of philosophies that most people do when it comes to their careers like you would do with your house. You wouldn't be like, well, I paid $400,000 for it in 1997, so I'll just take 10% more than what I'm getting paid now. Like there's just no way. Nobody ever thinks about it like that. When we think about real estate and we were putting up our house for sale, we look at it like, well, what are some of the things that we do before, right? You're going to look at the market. You're going to look at your house, look at the comps, look at Like when I sold my place, things that were attractive to me were not necessarily attractive on the market, right? I learned
Mhm.
that the hard way. Like, oh, I need to do some renovations before I put this house up for sale. We don't do that same thing with our career. And I mean, if you think about your career, you wouldn't even have your house if you don't have a right career, right? So it's just as important, but we market it so willy nilly. We're just kind of like, well, I'm going to go on Indeed and see who's hiring, and maybe I'll fit into this position, right? If you think of your career like real estate, if you were to put your house up for sale, there would be things that you did before you put your house up for sale, right? You're going to look at your home itself, what needs to be renovated, what do we have in the attic? Like, what's in the garage? All of the things, right? We don't necessarily take the same approach when it comes to marketing our career. We depend on job boards and what's happening on the internet, or I don't know why I keep going to Sally and payroll, but what Sally and payroll says about the industry. And so in my program, in our framework, we look at it like real estate. We're going to do the staging part, which is a big part is also mindset, but just getting prepared to handle this market, what it's going to look like, where you're going to be able to find things. And then what does the market dictate? Right? Like if when I talked about houses being expensive in Canada, $1 million for a house, you're going to be strategic on how you're not going to be like, well, I know everyone's getting $1 million, but I'll take 750,000. What? Why? Like, why would you do that? But we do that with our careers all the time, all the time. Like if I was to be looking for a house right now and I saw a house in Toronto and it was listed at $500,000, I'm going to think something's wrong with the house. I'm not like, oh, let me go buy it. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this place? It must be haunted. Like, who's living in there? Right? You know what I mean? Like, do the walls, are there 4 walls, or is it only 3 walls? Like, that's where my mind would be going. But with our careers, we don't have the same kind of mindset. We just kind of do whatever. We just sell it to whoever the highest bidder is. And that approach is what keeps people really stuck. In my program, I teach people how to lease your experience. So you are not just selling it to the highest person. A lease is mutually beneficial, right? You lease a car or lease a house for a certain period of time, you know, because you know it's going to help you get to whatever level, right? So just having that same kind of philosophy when it comes to our career, not just being stepping into being the CEO of your own career versus just letting the internet dictate what you do and what you get.
Love it. Love it. Especially the way to think about your career as real estate. That's awesome. The upgrades you're doing on yourself, skilling up, everything kind of pays off. You need to account all parameters when you're looking for a new job. Love that, actually. I'm going to add that to my mental model as well. All right. The next part is the fun part. Just your journey when I was reading and researching on how you kind of sold your home, just got up, sold your car, sold everything, moved into a different place, Costa Rica, a different country, and also how it ties to your something that your mom advised you on, like live your life. Can you kind of like talk us through how you decided that you would do that, and also how it shaped you as a woman you are today, like as a coach or wherever you are at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was deciding on moving, there was something that was really like, I love being Canadian. I love living in Canada. I didn't leave Canada because I don't like Canada. Like, I know people have that in their head sometimes, but that was not the case for me. I just felt really, really bored in my career and in my life. Like, there was just something missing. And I had lived in Costa Rica before. Like I had been there, I stayed a year there, and I came back because both of my parents needed me at the time. But I had lost both of my parents within a year, and which really made me think about my career and life different. Like when something like that happens and you lose 2 people that you're really close to, you start looking at your life in a very different way. One of the last things that my mom said to me is for me to live my life. And I was working and I just felt this like, I was like, what am I working for? I was not in love with my recruitment business anymore. I just wasn't. I'd done it for so long. I switched industries. I got into IT recruitment. and I did not love it. Like, I loved it during COVID when we were, like, and then after, it was just like, I just did not love the candidates. I fell out of love with my career. And I had to really take a good look at myself. And listening to my mom's last words literally was to live your life. I'm like, if I had no limitations, what would I be doing? And I started picturing this life for myself. Like, I always say I'm the original child free. Now it's like kind of cool to be child free, but I've been for a long time. So it's like, okay, I don't have any children holding me back. Right? I'm like, I'm lucky that I'm able to have something that I can sell and to go to other places. Let me start thinking about how I really want my life to look without limitations, because I am blessed to be able to be in that position. And so, number one, I always say this to people: when you have a goal like this, you can't do this by yourself. You need a coach or someone to help you, because if I had just tried to do it by myself, there is no way that I would have moved. Like, the fear would have gone into me. I would have been like, I'm safe here. I've lived here forever. I love my neighbors. I love my friends. I love my family. What am I doing? Right. But I had a bigger vision for my life. I wanted to live on a beach. I wanted to eat straight from the trees and just have that kind of freedom. I didn't want to be so materialistic and care about all of those things that we get consumed about in North America. And I made that decision and I did it. I just had to have faith that I was going to be able to continue what I was doing. So I was packing up all my stuff and prepared to do recruitment in Costa Rica. Like, literally, I was like, I'll just do it. I know what I'm doing. I'll just switch industries. And as I was packing my stuff up into my house, I'm like, I don't want to carry this business with me. Like, I'm changing everything. Why am I bringing this if I don't love it? Like, and it felt kind of hypocritical to who I.
Amazing. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. What a lovely story. Yes. I think there's like most of us might be thinking about moving somewhere cool. It might be a dream. It's not that you don't like the place you're in. It's just being adventurous and kind of figuring yourself out. So
Mhm.
kudos to you for doing that. And what an amazing story. Next, next few questions, I want to kind of dig into how you're championing women and helping them in recruitment. One story that stood out, you had a candidate who didn't have the right or preferred a resume for becoming a VP, but she might have had it in her. What did you see in her and how did you help her get there?
Well, number one, this is what I've just learned because I worked in IT recruitment, which is a very male dominated industry, like mostly male industry. Women versus men, and but men, they never need to have done the experience to feel that they're good at the job. Like, you will meet the most confident woman who's done everything and they'll be like, I'm not sure if I can do it. Like, girl, you can do it. And then you'll meet a man who's never done it at all. And they're like, I'm the best and nobody can beat me. And you're like, what the heck? Like, is there not
Yes, I
a
see that.
balance? Like, we're
Yeah.
just so conditioned to believe that unless we've done it a million times and been praised for it and got the crown and the award after, then we can't actually claim it. So that's number one, like, really stepping into understanding what you bring to the table, even if you haven't necessarily done it. Like, I have not managed a team of 700 people. I just haven't. I've managed a lot of people. But if you threw me in to manage 700 people, girl, I got it. Like, I will be able to do it. Like, I'm not that, it's right. So I feel like having the confidence to know that you can do things is not something that's been taught to women. We're always told to, like, level down. Don't be too braggy. You don't want to come across too aggressive. My gosh, especially women of color, like, we hear that all the time. This nonsense of just, you have to be perfect in order to get anything. So really working and having that understanding of, like, you don't need to do it 100% of the time in order to claim that skill set. You can actually just know that you can do it and people can catch on to that. Like, how many times have we been able to just figure things out? Like, as women, that just comes natural to us, like, right? But why do you need to have the permission right away in order to claim it? So yeah, my candidate had a terrible resume. Also, she'd been in her job for so long. before we met. Most people are not sitting at their desk all day thinking about how awesome they are and how well they do their job. Like it's just not like you don't finish your day. Yep, that's right. I was perfect. Let me just tell, like nobody does that, right? So once we went back and were able to understand the impact that she did within her career, she was able to kind of see it a little bit more. And then obviously your resume and your LinkedIn aligns. And we got all of those stuff together so that they were in alignment, just like similar to if you were to put your house up for sale. You're not putting up a messy house for sale. You're not going to put up a messy career to go on the market. So that's again, that's our first step in our program. And yeah, she ended up getting like a $40,000 increase from the last position that she was in. And a lot of
Wow.
it's just owning it. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I will meet somebody and I'll be like, tell me about your last position. And then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I was a VP of operations and I got an account that brought in $25 million into the company. And I was also on the birthday committee. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, you brought $25 million into the company. Oh, yeah. Like I just part of the strategic team. And like, what? Like, what? That is major. So pulling all of those things out of people is also like, it's crazy how we're just too humble. And being humble
Yes.
is what's keeping you broke. I promise you. Like,
I love that you're saying this because that is exactly the problem. And maybe I'm on the other side where I'm just an arrogant person. But I'm like,
go.
brag about yourself. When you're in an interview, sell yourself. Talk about yourself because that's what everybody else is doing.
100%,
Like
100%.
you gotta sell yourself and
Yeah,
you got it. You got the interview. That's step one. Like, come
exactly, and
on.
nobody's coming there's no one that's gonna come and who's gonna be able to articulate what you bring to the table better than you. There's nobody coming to save you. You don't have other cheerleaders that are in the background saying, "Yeah, like, Joanne's a person," or "Al's," like, nobody's doing that. It has to come from you. And I mean, I know it does feel counterintuitive in the beginning, but I mean, an interview is the only place that you are about allowed and you're supposed to brag about yourself. Like, yeah, maybe if you're on a first date, calm down a little bit. Like, we get it. But in an interview, like, that is the literal time that you're supposed to be doing those things. And yet, for so many of us, it is hard for us to do. And a lot of it just comes straight from conditioning from when we were children. Like,
Yes.
it just
True.
is. Yeah.
The
Yes.
conditioning. So you have to train yourself. You have to be your cheerleader. You have to be your marketing person. You have to be everything when you are in that interview. Just think about like kind of like going into this other personality and talking about yourself, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not, and I mean, we joke about it, but I mean, if you spent for most of us women, the formative years of our lives, we're told to be good girls. Like, how many of us have heard that? Be a good girl, go and play in the corner. Don't brag about yourself. Don't make Sally feel bad because you feel good about yourself, or don't, you know what I mean? Like, the boys only like you because they're being mean to you because they like you. All of that stuff. And it's like, it's just complete nonsense. And then you wake up one day and you're 40 years old wondering like, why am I afraid to like put my hand out and claim that it's my thing? Well, it starts from when we were children, always conditioning us to believe that we have to take less than what we deserve, or we have to work harder, or somehow that hard work that we're doing is going to get recognized. And it doesn't. Like, nobody cares. You know how many times I spent hours overtime, burning myself out, making for nobody to even notice. The difference is that I just thought that my hard work was going to get recognized versus me telling people about my hard work. Like, how are they going to recognize it if I didn't tell them? Like, it seems silly now, but it's just how we've been conditioned as women.
Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. Yes. Everything that you've said, it's right on dot. And most of us experience women in their careers. You might have gone through those phases and trained yourself to get out of it. And still, like even after years of experience, sometimes you still don't 100% make use of like marketing yourself, advocating for yourself, like talking about yourself. That's why I think having a coach definitely helps. And thank you so much, Allison, for kind of like getting into that role and helping other women and coaching them in their careers as well. So to tee off, do you have any closing remarks before we go into a fun section that Joanne is going to walk us through? She has the funny side. She can kind of do a quick
Mhm.
rapid fire with some really good questions. But anything to tee off, and I will hand it over to Joanne.
The only thing that I would say, just to kind of end things, if you're a woman kind of second guessing yourself as to where you will be, my experience as a recruiter, especially working in male dominated industries, is that women, we need to brag way more than what we do. When I say, I promise you that our male counterparts, I have seen it firsthand, feel no ways. They could literally be straight out of university and have had a job at Starbucks. No offense to anyone who's working at Starbucks. They could have been a barista or a baristo, whatever, right? For 6 months, and they go into an interview so much more confident than we do. And so any woman who's like second guessing yourself or afraid to talk about your accomplishments, I just want you to know, like Tim down the road or Chad, Connor, whoever is going up for an interview against you feels no ways to be able to talk about what they bring to the table. And I promise you, if you feel like you are being overconfident, you are probably just at the confident level and need to up it up a little bit more, because these guys are coming in way overconfident.
Way,
Beyond. We're
way
thinking,
beyond,
okay, I'm
beyond.
20%
I had a
too
fresh,
confident, and they're
I was
350% more.
the fun
Like,
story. I had a fresh college grad trying to tell me how AI worked. I have a PhD in computer science. No, no, no. I'm like, no, no, no. We're gonna stop. I don't like throwing my credentials at people, but
mhm.
no, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love your confidence, but you gotta calm down, dude. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then we're like, I don't know if I should say that I was excellent at bringing in this $25 million account. Meanwhile, they're like, actually, I know everything. So there's a compromise. You got to meet somewhere in the middle. But women, we are so our issue is not overconfidence; it's underconfidence. So even if you do 100% more, you're just meeting men. You're just at the bare minimum.
Yes. And that's the best part about it, is because you reminded me of that interaction that I just had like just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, if I talk to anybody, I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty typical in my industry to deal with that.
No, it
Yeah.
is. Actually,
Like really? You have someone
technology.
who argues with you about AI when you have these credentials? I'm like, yes, yes, they did.
Yeah.
It is very true. Yeah, I attest to that too. I have a number of examples where I do that, and I have like 25 years of experience. I've done masters in computer science. I've like so many credentials to back me up and data points, but I do see that always.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great
I love it.
PR.
Just take up a little more space, everybody. It's okay. You can
It's all
take some
good. No
space
one's
from
gonna get
them.
mad at you.
Don't let the man spread the room.
Exactly.
All right, so we are going to get unplugged. This is a very quick rapid fire. So I'm just going to jump right into it and ask you the first question. Best career advice you've ever received, besides your mother's, who probably gave you gold.
To treat your career like you're the CEO of it, like you're the boss, you were in charge, and just own it. Best career advice I ever had.
Perfect. Yes. A moment in your career you do differently.
That's a really good question. You know what? I had a very toxic boss many years ago when I worked in retail. I wish that I quit. I wish
Yeah.
I quit earlier. Like there was just so many signs in the beginning, and I kept on thinking that I could change her. And when you're in toxic environments, there's no changing people. The only thing that needs to change is you. So I suffered in silence, thinking it was going to change for a year, and it really affected my mental health. So if I could do it all over again, like the moment that she started saying the crazy stuff to me, I would have been on the job search. And now that's how I live. Now I know, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. This is a good one. Yeah. Morning routine, structured or chaotic?
I'm a type A kind of person, so I have a very structured morning. I got to get out in the sun. So right now I'm in Colombia. I'm in Medellin, Colombia. So in the mornings, if I don't get up and get out in the sun and go for a walk and have a coffee, I'm not good at, so yes. So structured for sure.
All right. All right. I like that. Last question. If you could coach one woman in history, who would it be?
My God. One woman in history. Okay, I don't know about history, but I have one person who I have known for 3 years. who I know that if I was to coach them, they would end up being like the president of the world. Like I know I have
Love it.
yeah, it drives me crazy because I've known this person since I was a recruiter. Like they came to me as a recruiter, and I've always seen they're excellent, and they never seem to move up in their ranks, even though they're super smart, super talented. And this person, I know exactly. You can tell that I'm super passionate about this because, and I thought about this for a while. I know exactly what they are doing to hold them back. Literally, like I'm like, if you went into just even one coaching session with me, I could just knock this nonsense that you're presenting to the world out. Like, I can just see it in her. And she is committed to the struggle bus. She just is committed. She doesn't, and I feel like a lot of people don't really understand the importance of coaching. Like, any person that you know who is successful has a coach. Like, we're not meant to be able to hustle or to struggle things out to finding the answer. Success leaves clues. Like, there are people who are able to articulate or be able to see what you are doing or what you are not doing and be able to change that so you can get results very quickly. It may take you 5, 6, 7 years to figure it out, and they can pinpoint it this in 1 or 2 sessions. And that person, I don't want to say her name, but like every time I see her online or I reach out or she'll reach out to me for a question, she'll come to one of my, and I'm just like, girl, if you knew, but she's just committed to being on the struggle bus. I'm just convinced. But yeah,
Mm,
that would be my person. And if she's listening, I think she would even know who she is. But some people they're just like that. It's like they want it, but they don't, they're afraid. It's like a
yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it. I remember being that way when I was a lot younger. I think there's a little bit of fear still in me. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or
of
anything. I'm
course.
listening to it. I'm like, oh man, I need coaching on like the fractional tech leadership roles. So, like, I get it. I get it. So don't let the fear, and I think that's a great closing note here is like, don't let fear hold you back.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
totally agree.
don't stay on the struggle bus. Like,
Exactly. It's not a good place.
it's not a
Like, if
good
you don't
place.
know, then somebody else needs to know. Like, everything in life, like, it's like I've always struggled. I use this example with my clients a lot. Like, I struggle with my weight. Like, this is how it is. And it's like, there's so many different strategies. Obviously, like, you eat less, go to the gym, right? But all of those things, yeah, like, it's easy to just say that's the answer, but there's so many other things that are tied to that, right? Your relationship with food, though your dependency with food, where you eat. Some people feel exercise, they hate going to the gym. They feel really self-conscious in the gym. So that causes another anxiety or whatever. And then you can meet a coach who's like, well, you don't need to go to the gym. You can just go for a walk. Or like, what if you change these couple of things? And then now you have structure and accountability, and then the weight starts falling off. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Exactly,
it's,
and that's the thing is, like, it's a perfect example. When things don't work when we're on a diet, we change stuff,
mhm.
right? I'll go back to diet analogy because I struggle with my weight a lot. So, but we change things up. We do something different. We try to make things work. You could stay committed to the struggle bus of your weight, but
Mhm.
you're never going to be happy then.
100%.
So
Sometimes the
why stay
problem is
on the
bigger
struggle
than
bus
you.
with your career, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. This was an amazing talk. I think one thing is where can our listeners find you, follow you, join your community?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly you can find me on LinkedIn. I live on that platform. So you follow me on LinkedIn, Allison Hemmings, the Glow Up Career Coach. I also do free, I call them career glow up strategy calls. I mean, I can't work with every single person, of course, but it's really geared to kind of find out if working with me is going to be a fit. So we look at where you are, where you want to get to, and see what's holding you back, and if I can help you in that process. And that's a complimentary call that I do. Other than that, you can find me on LinkedIn and send me direct messages and sign up for my calls.
Wonderful. That is great. I hope that someone here, if you're listening, this resonates with you. Be sure to reach out to Allison. I think there are many of us that actually, as we said, most people do need a coach. I've had informal coaches through my career. So it's not to say that I never relied on a coach either, and it's invaluable. And so make sure to think about that and see how you can sell yourself, because that is what being out on the market is selling yourself.
100%.
So thank you everybody for listening. Please remember to like this video if it's on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify. I think there's a like on Spotify. So like, subscribe, and until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and stay unplugged.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you.